Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Otome Super Otome World podcast. I am Gwen, and I am joined by my good friend Wintie.
Hello, people.
And we are going to continue our journey into my next life as a villainess. All routes lead to doom. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, the reason why we're talking about so many episodes at once is because they're kind of filler episodes in a way. Like, there's some things in some of the episodes that, like, progress and talk about the characters. So, they're not really like big fluff filler episodes, but
Yeah,
they
they're very
don't,
random.
yeah, they're really random. So the first episode in this is episode 6, and it's I Had Fun Over Summer Vacation. So this is kind of like the good old camping episode that we get in a lot of other animes, where it's just super random, funny. um and this one is definitely like that. It has a lot. I, I kept thinking, oh, the episode's over. Oh, wait, no, it's not. And it's like so many like little bits. It's like 5 minutes of this and 3 minutes of that, and like different like little bits, and they break it up with like these little cute little like drawings. Like they're not. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like little like a kid's color sketch or something like that.
It's totally Katarina's work right there.
Yeah,
That's her
exactly.
drawing.
Exactly. But it's kind of a cute, fun episode. Um I would say this was be a good episode if you wanted someone to get to know kind of how the characters were, but not divulge too hard into like the storyline. This would be kind of like one of those episodes where if you had no idea what was going on, you could still watch it and enjoy this episode.
I agree. It was also, I think it was kind of because in the next couple of episodes after this one, we do start getting more into. I mean, a little bit further into the stories. This is probably like just like the little filler, calm before the storm that's coming around in the next couple of episodes, probably. So
Mm-hmm. I agree.
it was really good. I was kind of surprised in how it jumped from like figuring out Maria's story and that part to all of a sudden like a summer vacation, and they actually cover all the little random stuff that she does during her summer vacation. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was pretty funny though, like all the little stuff like I'm trying to think
The
my
rowboat. That was in this one,
mhm,
wasn't it? The rowboat part.
the robo. Oh yeah, the
Rowboat.
rowboat. Yeah, the rowboat.
You're like
Yeah,
Robo?
that was
Robocop.
yeah, that one was in here. I also really liked the ending, the really close ending part when she didn't do all her homework and
Oh,
Keith was
yeah.
yelling at her with the homework. And he was, I shouldn't have trusted you when you told me you were done with all your homework. And she's like, ouch, little brother.
I know. She's like, why you have such little faith in me?
Oh my god. It was oh yeah, then we also got to figure out her mother's feelings in that episode too.
Oh, yeah. That was
Yeah.
I like how so like you really do learn a lot about more characters than just like the main characters. Like you learn about um like when we learned about both like Nicole as well as Sophia. Like they had like you learned a little bit about their parents, kind of a thing. I felt like you learned like you felt like you learned a little bit about like their family, which was kind of nice. And I felt like these episodes kind of cover that. Like you have her mom, and then in one of the later episodes you learn more about like her maid, and it's just nice to have that like couple minute thing about these characters.
Mm-hmm. They're definitely taking their time to get you to know the characters, which is something you don't really see in many series like this, especially when it's like based off like an tone. They're like, okay, we have these guys. We're just covering these people. Forget the
Mm-hmm.
side characters; they're really not important. And I really appreciate that they're trying to cover everybody, including the side characters,
Yeah.
um,
And
which
that
makes it
just
stand out from the rest.
right, it does. And it's nice that it wasn't cut for length and that this anime doesn't feel rushed at all, in my
No.
opinion. At least so far. So far. When I it all just kind of flew out of my brain. Like I can't remember much of it. Like all I
Oh, we
can
did have
remember
a
is
cute
like the
scene with
homework
Keith
thing.
too.
It's just like a cute like I could probably go and rewatch it and like still enjoy it. But it's just like so many like kind of like spitfire things coming at you like, oh, we're doing this activity and we're doing this and we're doing that, and it's just but it's nice to see the interaction that you get with kind of like that leisure kind of episode, because the next episode kind of gets a little, there's a moment in the next one because the next one is they're doing, it's a test, right?
Yeah, the test.
So they're doing a test and they get split up into groups. It looks like groups of 3-ish.
Yeah.
um so they enter and it's called I entered a dangerous dungeon. So their task is to find this gem, right? This, it's like some sort of gem that has like a hidden power, right?
Yeah, it's a gem that was left there by some kind of wizard. I think that's
Yeah.
how they explained it, and they're trying to, they gotta go there. But this cave or whatever, it had this, no, not cave, ancient ruins, better has lots of traps in it.
Yep. It's like
And
Indiana
they have to go
Jones.
there for their schooling, to graduate, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. And oh god, Katerina reminded me very much in that episode of Daphne Blake from Scooby Doo, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because she triggers several things. She triggers ice. She triggers, I believe, water. She triggers arrows. She goes through a hidden wall and then gets separated from all of them. And that kind of, I'm a little intrigued with that moment when she's by herself because there's always some sort of like dark figure in the background.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And then they use wind magic, and I'm thinking, oh, it's, Sophia or Nicole, because when they lose her, they use their wind magic to be able to hear her voice and like try to find the path of where her voice is.
Hmm.
And there's a part where Katarina's kind of dumb and she slips and falls, but then Sophia is there, and then there's wind magic, so you're thinking, oh, it's Sophia or it's Nicole, but then Sophia's like, it's not me, and then Nicole wasn't there yet, but then there's like this black figure in the background, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, that's why I think that stuff's about to go down, but later
Yeah,
on
so
in the
there's
series.
something. I mean, I hope it's explained because I'm really intrigued by that, because it's kind of like something is there. I almost feel like there's something watching her, but I'm not sure what it is that's watching her. And so I was very intrigued by that.
The episode also started off with a little bit of a backstory of her old friend as well. We got to see
Yeah.
Achan and when she lost Katerina in her other life. And I cried so much of that part. It hit
Aww.
me in the feelings
Well,
when she was just like, I lost my friend. I took for granted what I
mm-hmm.
thought I would always have. And
Yeah.
that part really hit home. And it was just, oh gosh, that's so sad. And then
Yeah.
Sophia woke up
Yeah.
as if she was the one dreaming that.
Well, I feel like maybe that is her. Like maybe she is reincarnated as her, because I mean she's very similar to each other in a lot of things, especially like interests, how they interact with each other and everything. So it's
Hmm.
kind of like she had a moment of crisis where Katerina in the beginning had fell and hit her head really hard, which could have, caused a lot of damage potentially. And then Sophia was going through a moment of um, kind of panic, or what's another word for it? Trauma. She went through, like, trauma had potentially triggered her into remembering previous trauma in a previous life.
Hmm.
So I do think she is the reincarnation of her. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah, since she was reincarnated.
So it
Yeah, and then
also
she was
makes me
getting the
wonder if maybe we learn about other characters. Maybe they all are part of previous life. Maybe
that'd be interesting.
like they're all classmates of some sort. Which I don't think Katarina interacted with many classmates, but at the same time, it would be interesting if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be sad if that wasn't the case, and it was just her and Sophia that were reincarnated.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense because obviously all the other characters are based off of I mean they're based off of Fortune Number Two, but like I think it's probably just those two.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one because it's nearing the end of this season, but then the next episode. I mean, I guess that's really the only thing like jarring or like story driven is Sophia's memories and the Black Shadow.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but Katarina's idea of surviving that ancient ruins when she lost
Oh my
everybody,
god.
you
The
know, getting mushrooms.
those mushrooms were so psychedelic. Like Gerardo was like, you didn't eat any of those, correct?" And I liked how she finds the crystal, but then she uses the crystal to harvest mushrooms. Like, girl,
Because
get it together.
she's just so like her. I think her stomach is what like drives her just
To
to
do
everywhere
crazy
she goes.
things. Oh my god. Always, always, always thinks with her stomach and not with her brain. Um, But then the next episode that we have is quite hilarious. I laughed a lot in this episode, to be honest. Um, this episode has a good depiction of how chaotic this anime can get, but also at the same time, I don't think it also still is story driven as chaotic as it is because it's like what's your deepest darkest desires, and the episode is called I Become Engulfed by Desire. So it starts off they're studying. Katarina's like, oh, I'm supposed to go to this one library I've never been to. Student council president says it's the best library here. She slowly, as she gets closer and closer to the library, she runs into more and more of her friends, so they all end up there studying together. Well, she goes to look for a book. The book glows. She has, as one would call it, shiny ball syndrome. She picks up the book, big flash of light, and all but two get sucked into the book. The only ones who don't get sucked into the book are good
Mary
old
Hunt
Mary and
and
good old, all right,
Maria.
Maria. They do not get sucked in. So they start reading the book, and it's essentially everyone's desires. So each person has a different desire. So who's the first one that they do? I can't remember what order.
We saw Giordo's
Okay, well,
first.
yeah, I should have known that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I should have. Duh, of course they would do his first. And
His
what?
was lovely.
Right. And so, what is his desire?
His desire was that he wanted to marry Katerina so that he'd be the only one that she would belong to. Of course, you know. Because he's
Of
always fighting with
course.
Keith over her.
He gets a little like he's ready to like complete that marriage. I would say he's ready to like it's a done deal. Let's move on to step 2. You know what's going on, and I'm like, she is not prepared
Oh,
for this.
but
She's
she didn't even know what was going on. She's like, "What is this? A
no.
wedding?" She was just in a wedding dress and everything like that. And then he was able to pull, with the wine glass. She tripped and stuff like that. There's the scene, and he
Oh
like
yeah,
did some
that
kind of
was
magical, turning thing to go ahead and grab her
oh
and
my
still hold
god.
the wine in his hand.
So extra. So extra.
Oh my god.
So he's first. He obviously wants to get married, which is nice that we learn that because it you still don't know what his intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
So to learn that is pretty nice, but I feel like his intentions to get married aren't as pure as one
Of
should
course,
be.
no. He's
Uh,
dirty minded. What a boy.
yeah, dirty minded boy. So who's the next one? Who's the next one up to
The
bat?
next one was God, I know who it was.
Was it
Keith. It was
Keith?
Keith. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Keith. I can't remember what happened in his. I don't know why.
In his, she was studying, and he kept telling her to study, and he went ahead and flirtatious with her, all
Oh
over
yeah,
her, and he's like, "I'll go ahead and eat your food, your cookie, if you don't study." She's like, "No, no." He tells her to eat, like open up her mouth, go ah, and she
yeah,
even opens up her mouth and goes ah. He tries to give her the food. That's where Mary closed the door,
yeah.
the book on.
Because they can't handle what is happening.
Oh my god! But yeah,
It's funny. But that, and then I guess it's Nichols the next one.
no, it's
Uh,
Sophia.
oh, it is.
Sophia,
Oh,
who
that's right.
Commandants. Yeah,
Oh
she
my
Commandants her
god.
in the book.
She is so aggressive in her desire. It is insane. And then like the two are just like, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
I love how she was just like, when Katerina was like, kind of, I want to be able to live here forever. You have so many books. She's like, really live here? Are you sure you want to live here?
Oh my god.
We could be together forever.
We can be
Oh my
together
god.
every day. And she was like, sure. She was like all about that. Like, move in, let's yep, share a bedroom, bunk beds, the whole 9 yards. That's what she was all about. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
And then the next one was what was the next
I
one?
I think the next one it was what was his name? It
Al.
was Alan, but she shut his book really
Oh,
quickly.
yeah, his
Yeah,
got
like you
shut
just
pretty
saw
fast
him.
because Mary was like, I can't do this." So she does not, it's like she knows that he likes her, but she will do anything to prevent him from getting closer because she wants her for herself,
We
which
actually
is
saw at the beginning of
hilarious.
the episode too, because like she was looking out. Alan and Katrina were together at the very beginning of the episode,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Mary looked out through the window and she was like, "What? I, I've taken every single precaution I can to make sure that he doesn't realize he has feelings for her."
She is working way too hard on the wrong thing, is all I gotta say. The poor man. And then, so after that, it's definitely was Nicole was the
Of
next
course, oh
one.
gosh, his I swooned, I swooned.
It was like straight out of like Tuxedo Mask. I was getting so strong Tuxedo Mask vibes, like hardcore,
It was beautiful. I love it how like he's
hardcore.
so valiant too. He was
Oh
like
my god.
jumping from like all like the buildings with that carrying her,
Oh my
and he's like, "I
gosh.
don't want to let you go ever." Oh my god.
It was so extra, but I absolutely love it because his character is so like quiet and like keeps to himself, and then he's like doing that, and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. I love
Yeah, it
this.
was like he really wanted to keep her to himself. Like that's his actual true thoughts. Aware of the quiet people.
Oh my god. It's always the quiet ones. Always the quiet ones. Um so I guess and then the last one is Katarina's desire.
Oh yeah, and hers. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody can guess what she was doing.
Eating. But it's kind of funny because they're like she ate so much, but she still her desire was never met.
Because she was actually hungry in real life.
Yeah.
So like it didn't fill her up, so she just kept
Right.
getting hungrier and hungrier.
And then she's like, I think she just wants to eat. And then they're like, I think her real desire is that she wanted to eat so much that she would become fat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I
But she
mean,
ended up
probably.
breaking the spell of the book because her desire was way too strong for the book to even handle her
Mm-hmm.
desire.
Yep.
And they all got spewed out of the book.
It's kind of funny that like that was what got them out is her desire for food was too strong for the book to contain itself anymore, so they just spew it all out. Like that's hilarious. So they started, but the reason why they had to go through all these is because they realized that the to get through the book you had to everyone had to realize or live out their desires.
hmm
So yeah,
It was a very random book.
it
Uh,
was. It was a very
but
random
but
episode.
I'm not like sure if you realized, but I've been kind of like looking at it. Hasn't the school president been acting really weird since episode 6?
Well, what did he do in episode 6?
Well, like he like when she was like saying, "Have you do you like are you engaged to anybody?" He went quiet, and then during the party, and then she was like, "Do you like anybody?" He's like, "No, nobody." And then when she was dancing with everybody else, like he was staring at her off in the distance,
Maybe he's the
like
black
with a mad
figure.
face.
What if he is like the ringmaster of this whole thing?
I don't know. And then also in this episode with
Them to the library.
Yeah, he does guide them to the library. He pretty much tells them that's where you need to go.
mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, he's been acting kind of weird.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I definitely, I mean, you're right. He is kind of, he has something about him, and I'm trying to figure it out.
I mean, he's just there. Like he has more of a presence than the other side characters too. In a way, like you see him a lot more than everybody else.
Yeah, because he's like a true side character.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that's my speculations right there. I have no clue.
yeah, it's all pure speculations until we get to the end, if it explains it in the end. Because sometimes that's what anime likes to do. They don't explain anything.
Yeah, I just feel like he was just like angry at her for asking if maybe he likes her. That could be it.
Yeah,
And he was angry because she asked, "Do you like anybody?" Because again, she's dense again.
because
That
he well, I
somebody
mean,
likes.
he is the smartest because he's the student council president, and the smartest is the student council president. So he probably knows how slow she is, like 100%.
Oh, she is so dumb.
She's quite dumb. Um, but yeah, he doesn't do anything in the episode 9. No, he doesn't have anything to do with episode 9. That would be kind of
Yeah.
funny if he like did something at episode 9. But episode 9 is kind of a fluff episode. So everyone passes their exams. Yay. But another side character gets a little bit of the spotlight.
Yeah, her maid, which, oh, bless her heart.
Oh my god. I love her even more. So her maid Anne, Shelley, you find out that her father was a duke, and when she was young, her house was caught on fire, and her mother was stuck in the fire and died. But also because of the fire, her arm got burnt, and because of that, her dad decided that she was damaged goods. He could not marry her off to anyone because now she had a burn and damage to her body, which like, oh my god, I wanted to stab his eyeballs out like that.
Oh, me too.
Ugh.
Like, we also figured out that she was like and I think it was why he treated her like that as well, was because she was a mistress's wife, kid. So she wasn't actually like the main, like the
Blood.
main, yeah, blood. And so like he was just like, I could at least marry you off and stuff like that. So he never actually liked her. And then when she got hurt, he was
He was
like,
like, now I really can't get rid of you.
yeah, it was so mean.
And but then it's kind of like sweet because like she went to work for Katarina's family and then was like she was such a brat, but then like Katarina completely changed when she hit her head and changed, completely ended up changing her life to the fact that she loved Katarina. And when her dad came back and was like, well, I finally found a guy that would accept you for being damaged goods and will marry you. And so Katarina just storms in, is like, I am Katarina Klaus, and you cannot have my maid. And like goes through all these things, like, like I I'm restless when I sleep, so she always makes sure in the middle of the night to come and put the blanket back on me. And it's like she doesn't realize that the things that she does for her, that Katarina knows what she does. So she feels, I don't know, there's like a moment where it's like she realized like this is where I need to be. I need to be with Katarina. She's the one who would never do me wrong in my life.
Yeah, it was also really sweet too. Like I think it was really funny because Katarina has like all her excuses why he could not take Anne were so kiddish. It was just so adorable, which is really funny too when you kind of bump back to like her thought process in like the first episode or the second episode it was, where she said that she was 17 plus 8 years old, because she's
Mm-hmm.
acting like she was so old in her mind, but yet here she is giving like the most kiddish excuses for keeping Anne with her. But it
Yeah,
was so cute.
it
And I
was.
guess Katarina also gave her very first birthday gift as well, like this
Yep.
little box full of a whole bunch of little knickknacks, you see.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cute.
It was. It was is definitely sweet. Um, but then also with getting her story, we also learned that she's extremely observant of everyone. And she knows how dense Katerina is because she knows how much Gerardo loves her. She knows how much Keith likes her. She knows how much Alan and Nicole and Mary and Sophia and like everyone is completely head over heels for her, but she's just too dense to know.
And she actually threw that. She's just so dense. Like I think like 5 different times in that one.
Oh yeah, she was like she's dense, 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 dumb, slow, oblivious, like anything of that nature. She is. She doesn't, because she's so still overcome by like her life ending, like her having her doom, which I almost wish that she would just enjoy life and just
hmm
continue being the person that she wants to be, because she just being herself has changed absolutely everything.
Yeah, I know, right? Like nothing's
Mm-hmm.
gone the same way as it would have.
Yep.
And I think the most funny one that got me was Mary Hunt's uh her explanation that the maid gave for her. Like she's concocted a really scary plan to go
Yep.
saying that I can't be a prince's consort. It's just not good for me. Then of course Katarina is like, well, if you're not fit to be it, then I'm like definitely not fit to be it. And she's like, well, why don't we run away with each other? She had like a
Yeah.
map placed with a whole bunch of
Yeah.
places for them to be at. That
Yep.
part was
And
hilarious.
she's like, and she's dead serious. No kidding. That's, yeah, I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
um But I mean, then they have like a little, like the whole point of this is them to have a sleepover and them to talk. So kind of learn about Anne when they ask, Anne, is there anyone that you like? And she's like, no, that's not for me. And then that's when we kind of learn about like her past and
hmm
everything, and how she describes how observant she is of everyone, and pretty much knows, everyone. The only one who hasn't realized their feelings for her is Alan, because he's, I guess, just as slightly oblivious. Well, he's not as oblivious as Katerina, but he's just slightly oblivious.
I
Just
love how
slightly.
much he's changed from like the first episode. How like when we first saw him and he was just so like I hate the world, and now he's like laughing and smiling and just
Mm-hmm.
so sweet.
It is. It's really adorable how much he's changed, and just, yeah, I really, all these characters, I absolutely just love them. I love them.
Mm.
They're so good.
Yeah, they all have a captivating way of getting you
Mm-hmm. And I
hooked
don't
on.
feel like one is overshadowed by the other, or when it doesn't get, because it's so common for a lot of characters to just like not have things explained about them, and that's kind of the downfall, is they want to focus so much on a story that they just toss out all character development, or they only focus on character development of like a third of the characters or half of the characters, or like one main character or something like that, and it sucks. But this, they definitely did this anime right with its story, and making sure that you didn't forget any of the characters, and just creating such a good relationship with all the characters, and I definitely enjoy that. I think that's my favorite thing about this anime so far is such a good cast of characters, that
I
it's
agree.
it's I feel like it's story driven to the point where character development is what's causing the story, because technically in her mind things have already been set in stone story wise,
Mm-hmm.
but like she's turned everything upside down in her world, or her new world, or reincarnated world. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to see how it is, how it turns out. So the next 3 are going to be a doozy, I feel.
I can't believe we're almost done. This
Oh
is
my
very,
god.
very sad.
3 more episodes. What's going to happen? Oh my god.
But first, we have to talk the
oh.
important part that happened.
What did I forget?
It's the letter part in the series.
The letter?
Yeah, where she gives everybody a
Oh
letter
my
at the end of the
god. That
and
was
Jordo sees it and he thinks that he's just, oh my gosh, she finally recognized my feelings for her. She finally come around the corner for me. And he's all like just head over heels, happy. And he's like, okay, well, I have to think what to give her. And the very first thing he thinks of is because she mentioned that she wanted a new pair of cutting shears for her plants, her garden. So then he goes ahead and he buys her a golden, really elaborate cutting shears with her name added to it, and then goes to the meeting place.
Yep.
And lo and behold, everybody was there.
Yep, everyone was there and everyone got her the same gift.
And she gave them all the ugly ass clothes that she wears.
Yep, all with their names on them. And I felt so bad for Gerardo because I thought, oh my god, is he actually going to have like a twinkling star eye moment? And it was just like completely flatlined for him. And I felt so bad for him. I feel you, buddy. I feel like it's really funny because I feel like the things that she does, he's affected the most because he's trying so hard to like capture her attention that every single time she ignores him, it's like a big slap in the face for him. And I feel so bad. Like everyone else just kind of deals with it and they're just like, oh, that's just Katarina. And he's like, why won't you notice me?
I know, right?
The poor man. The poor man.
He's just like, he also like he feels a need to, because of his area, the God, I can't even speak anymore. Where he's that he has to feel the need to tell everybody that he's like her fiance, like constantly. It's like he has to remind himself that he's her fiance just by saying that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, poor boy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe he'll have a shining moment. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. You can always follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at cookingkoala2_0. And then Wintie, where can they find you at?
You can find me at 2 places, Twitter and on YouTube, Yuki Hanabi X on both.
Yep, and everything will be linked below, so it's easy to find both of us. If you ever have any questions, definitely leave them down below, and let us know what your thoughts. What are you predicting in the next episodes? Don't spoil in down below. Don't spoil. If you've watched the end, you can spoil on ahead when we talk about it in our next episode. And we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, morning, evening, weekend, birthday. If it's your birthday, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.